how concerned are you with how long this is continuing as a problem in terms of supply of formula? And now we're hearing today, for instance, Abbott Labs, they've come to an agreement to resume production, but it could be 8 weeks or more before product actually reaches the shelves. So what's your level of concern?
What I'm more concerned about is the specialty formulas. For those where we don't have alternatives for other companies to manufacture those, we don't have as many alternatives. Importing or resuming manufacturing is all we have. So one of those two has to be able to meet the needs for the babies involved that need those as their source of feeding. Otherwise, those babies are really in a tight spot. And yes, it's been going on longer than any of us hoped. So it is concerning for that class of patients, for that group of patients.
When you talk about specialty formulas, can you explain to us what those formulas are and why babies need those specialty formulas?
So there's some babies that either have metabolic problems or they have some kind of complication with how their stomachs can digest the formula. So they need either these highly specialized formulas with broken down amino acids, or like not your typical cow milk protein or soy based, or they're processed and specifically designed in a way to help the babies be able to metabolize them and thrive, grow, pass them to all the parts of the body, absorb them and use them. That's not something that you can whip up or you can substitute for or easily. That they're very specialized, very complicated, highly designed formulas to meet a specific need. So those children, their families are quite worried and distressed the longer this goes on. I think what makes it compounds the issue is as the shortage goes on for all formula types, as people are buying whatever they can get, people will buy whatever they can get. And the concern is that if people get their hands on some specialty formulas, that you shouldn't be able to find them that easily. Usually you need a prescription from a physician or a referral or recommendation to get them. But if you are getting them, then there's a child that needs it, that has less of a chance of getting it. But I think we're even past that point now. I think that it's just hard to find. So I was happy to hear that there's not just starting to manufacture again, but the steps being made to safely import some of these formulas. I think that will help bridge the gap. And I think the powers that be get it now. I think administration gets it now. I think I've seen a lot come out from the HHS.gov. I've seen that all our academies speak towards them. I've seen the physicians, I've seen families, I've seen advocacy groups reaching out in the past few weeks. And I think that the steps we're seeing now shows that they understand that something else needs to be done. Yeah.
Are you hearing desperation in your role from patients?
We're hearing, I think, half confusion, half desperation. So there are a lot of people who just want to know which formula can I give. Like their children are not on the specialty formulas, but the formula alternatives that they're used to getting, even that is running short. So they want to know, well, what can I do now? I used to buy an organic formula and I've bought the store brand. Can I just switch overnight, or do I need to do it gradually? I don't have anything to do it gradually. So the answer for those is yes, go ahead. and switch. You know, like if you're not in the specialty formula category, if you're and your physician or your caretaker have not had a discussion, and you're under the understanding that your baby is premature and needs a certain type of formula or has medical conditions where they've been prescribed special formula, then you have more wiggle room in terms of, oh, I was on total comfort. Well, now I only have regular. Can I just go on the regular Target brand? And I love and really appreciate that the American Academy of Pediatrics released a simple FAQ on Friday, and I will share that website with your team, and it just answers those simple questions for families, like in that pinch, in the urgent pinch. You know, it's a Friday, every office is closing, we're out of our last can, we can't find even the store brands for the one. Can I use like this alternative? Can I buy any formula that's FDA approved? You know, yes, like it answers questions like that. It tells you what you can do, and more importantly, what we don't want you to do, what can be harmful. So I think things like that is what the bulk of our calls are. And we're then looking for that family that does have a metabolic issue, that does need a special prescription. And we're trying to sieve those ones out of the larger group of calls that we're getting.
Are we seeing a social divide, doctor, who is more impacted by this than other mothers?
I think so. I mean, I think from what you've probably seen over the last few days, you'll see that about 50% of the families that are looking for formula at this point are families that are WIC eligible. So there is a social divide, right? So you have to have the resources to be able to afford it, buy it online. You have to be able to have the resources to drive to a couple different stores in far off places. You have to have somebody watch the baby while somebody else goes hunting for formula. You have to have an understanding of what these substitutions are. So someone who is savvy enough to quickly interpret the information that is in front of you when you're making a quick decision. So those aren't things that parents were figuring they had to do when they were going to feed their baby, and it's becoming their reality now. So yes, there is a social divide there.
And WIC eligible moms, how does that translate in terms of, for our viewers to understand, what does that mean exactly?
So Women, Infants, and Children is a supplemental program for people who need financial assistance in being able to provide food for their babies in a certain age group. Formula is one of the things that WIC is able to support families with. So typically, if you were WIC eligible, you would get a supplemental amount of your baby's feeding provided by WIC. Well, WIC is feeling the pain right now with this shortage, and they're catering to a large amount of clientele, a lot of families. So they're trying to do this shuffle and trying to balance and trying to get their hands on as many products and distribute it as fairly as they can. So if that was how you were getting your baby's food, you already fall out of the pool of people that has enough financial resources to do all those other things I said before. Chances are you can't afford it if there is price gouging going on formula. Chances are you can't drive to many different zip codes or the price of gas. Chances are that you don't have someone else who can, you don't have the resources to have people from, you hit this area of town, chances are you're limited in terms of being able to do all that. And you cannot afford to pay whatever anyone wants to charge you for formula. You're already on a tight budget. That's why you qualified for financial assistance to start with. So the populations who are WIC eligible already at a disadvantage. They're not going to be able to compete with those who have resources to pay or do or go wherever they need to get the formulas they want. So our office, for instance, and many offices, not just ours, that have a high population of women, infant, children, patients, we're in constant communication with every state's WIC office. I have checked, definitely. I saw Connecticut's, I saw Pennsylvania's, I saw New Jersey. I checked a couple states, and they're partnering with their local American Academy of Pediatrics, and they're releasing updates to what they're telling families, and making sure that we're on the same page. So Pennsylvania, for instance, they sent us a correspondence that says, we're going to be telling families that if they are usually given this particular formula, and these come color coded, that when they go to the store, when they come to WIC, they can expect that these are the substitutes that they're able to get. If they are going to buy, these are the they give a wide list of substitute that they're able to go ahead and switch for. So we're all on the same page for that. And then at the same time, they'll tell the physicians, when you are writing a prescription and seeing a family and renewing their order for their baby's specialty formula, instead of just writing one, give us the leeway to substitute. So just put the list of all the specialty formulas so that we have the leeway and the flexibility to give that family whatever we have in front of us at a time. So all that to say, the WIC offices and they're trying to work with those of us that see a lot of WIC patients to make sure that our messaging is coordinated, and we're trying to help the parents at the same time.
I was reading about moms who are breastfeeding who are pumping extra milk and sharing it, with other moms who need the milk. Is that something you're hearing about, and is that a safe thing to do? What would you say?
There's a safe way to do it, and then there's also the less safe way to do it. So there are milk banks. They've always been. Before this, there were milk banks that especially for babies in the neonatal ICU, there's been studies shown that getting breast milk in those babies helps their gut really mature and improves their outcomes. Well, a lot of them, their parents had them before their parents were ready to make breast milk or enough breast milk, or their parents themselves there might be distress around that delivery. So mom might not be in a state where she's able to produce or cater to the baby in that way. So safe treated screens, breast milk has been available through milk banks. Now, of course, you're hearing about people just kind of, you're hearing stories about people phoning up. I'm reading all kind of things on social media and hearing things that give me concern as a pediatrician. I understand where people are coming from. I will say, though, that we shouldn't just throw caution to the wind. If there are safe ways to do this, and I am going to share that hhs.gov website with you at the end of our conversation also, because it lists the websites for the Human Milk Banking Association of North America. And then if, that's one simple website that you can do and see the safe places around you or the established places around you where you can safely pursue that. Yeah.
What are some of the downsides of not following certain guidelines when it comes to that?
Well, you never know what kind of infection somebody might have. We know that breast milk is loaded with good things like antibodies and all the good healthy proteins, etc. But it does carry viruses. It does carry all those things also pass through breast milk. So when you go through a milk bank, that's screened. Those are treated. You don't want to just take for granted and expose your babies to unnecessary risk. It's already tough enough what families are going through. I don't, it'll be unfortunate to end up with another complication at the end of this if parents skip too many of the safety precautions.
So you want to make sure that that this is a screened individual and that
Yes.
it's been vetted and made sure that there's no risk in terms of any viruses or anything harmful that might be present.
Yes. Viruses. Some people take medications that pass through breast milk. Some people take non-prescribed medicines, substances, recreational drugs or substances, different degrees of alcohol, like things that it's just a reality. Babies respond to this, and they have adverse effects to this, and we don't have a cure for all of it. So we want to be careful with those, yes.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much. You wanted to share a couple of web addresses. We can do that here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. The first one is healthychildren.org. This is from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and there's a link in there with the baby formula shortage. What should I do if I can't find any? If you put that into the search engine, it'll bring you to a nice FAQ that addresses some of what we just discussed. And the other one is hhs.org, and it's just a fact sheet titled Helping Families Find Formula During Infant Formula Shortage. And that was just updated about a few minutes ago. Yeah,
wonderful.
That one I like because it not only has the address to like your local WIC office, the American Academy of Pediatrics websites, information on healthy milk banks, as well as the customer service lines to the particular formula companies for the specialized formulas. Like they have hotlines set up for the families who are actually the 5,000 or so families that are trying to get those products now. So that's a very helpful one.
Doctor, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. We'll talk again.
All right. Have a good evening.